using the same arguments over and over and over again and just not coming up with anything new. And the atheists all had a different perspective and different things to say. You know, they didn't sound like they're reading from a script. But eventually I realized they all sound like the parrots. You know?
It disturbs me how they can manage to make entire careers out of very little. Because it basically sums up to about a dozen sentences. And there are thousands of books.
Just out of curiosity, Dave, you know, considering your years of experience dealing with apologetics and boiling it down to 12 basic sentences, could we set up one of them for-profit schools and charge some people and make some money off? The shortest apologetics course ever. 1 week and you will be able to be Mr. Turk.
The problem is you've got to convince them that they're not being dishonest. I think most of them are being honest, and that's what really worries me. They are convinced that these arguments stand up, and how they are taught to ignore everything they are told by opponents is beyond me.
Yeah. No, I have family members who study apologetics and are into it, and I believe that they believe it. You know, they're not. They don't hate me at all. They don't hate me because I'm an atheist. They're just. I think, maybe I'm speaking for them, but just as a general group, I think they're afraid of my stuff rubbing off on them, if that makes any sense.
Your evil atheist.
See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. You know, I'm doing all of that.
Do they try and discuss with you at all?
No.
I mean, I have family members that I will say to, I will say to them, "Are you really sure you want to ask me that question or say that?"
That's a good question.
Because I will answer
that. Mm-hmm. No, yeah, so my grandmother and my grandmother and one of my younger sisters are probably the two people in my family that I still consider myself close to. My grandmother is the matriarch of the Catholic family. And, you know, I remember looking at her library in her living room and seeing a book when I was a kid called Liberalism is a Sin. Really? And that was the name of the book. I just thought, okay. You know, so that, just to give you perspective, not to make fun of her or anything. But so while I was questioning, you know, I was a Catholic and then I was a Christian and then I was an atheist, this whole time, she's the person that I was honest to about, okay, now I'm questioning this and now I'm learning that. And wait, hold on. How do we justify this? And she would give me her answers and she would listen. And eventually she just stopped talking and just kind of listened and just said, okay. But I think after the point where she started doing that was when I said, oh, you know, don't worry, I'm still a Christian or something, when I was about to get married. And she had said, oh, well, as long as you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, then you're fine. And then I remember just going like, do I? Like, do I believe that?
If that's the case, what's the point of the rest of it?
Exactly. I was like, wait, if that's what it boils down to, do I even believe that? So then if I don't believe that, why would I want to believe the rest of it? But everybody's got a different answer. You're a Christian if fill in the blank.
Agree with me.
If you agree with me.
Yeah.
If you believe exactly what I think I believe.
If you don't, then you're not a real Christian.
No.
Or you never believed in the first place. Or whatever makes sense to me.
It pleases me that so many Christians don't believe the Catholics are Christians. Because it pushes the numbers way down.
Interesting.
They like to quote that, you know, the about 2 billion Christians number. But there is no religion as it currently, there is no denomination that is over 1 billion. Catholicism is about there. So you can say that there is no religion in its own right that is bigger than 1 billion people.
I
Even though
wonder how many religions have people still in their directory like me,
lots, well, especially the Catholic Church.
right?
As we
Like,
said.
are
You are
these
still
numbers
counted.
accurate?
No.
Because
Well,
according to the United States, I'm a Catholic.
Yeah.
According to YouTube and everything else, I'm not.
well,
Why
they,
would
they
you-
inflate numbers by keeping people who are no longer with the faith in the faith and on the books. You know what I mean?
This is how successful we are. Maybe I should go and deregister myself. No, I just don't care. Just don't care.
Yeah, let them have the numbers.
Yeah, do what you want. I am
credit
doing
to
my
them for
part.
showing them, to be honest.
I'm sorry.
I think it might be ultimately one of those nice ways to discredit them. I will put money over the next 10, 15 years. It will come out that there are X number of people that are listed. 15% of everything the Catholic Church lists as a member isn't.
Maybe we should do a study
Uh,
and ask. How many of you have been confirmed or like officially
problem
registered
is,
into your faith
they
and then
don't
left
tell
and
them,
didn't?
do they?
Yeah.
The problem is they don't tell them that they're still counting. They're still being counted.
That's true.
Well, then you have to put a reliance on them to give you correct information.
Mm.
You know,
It does
they-
appear that the abstract set of numbers that we have and the souls they represent are just as intangible, aren't they?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, everybody
Well,
likes
I-
their numbers, and everybody likes to look bigger than what they are.
Yeah. I mean, it's human. It's human. It's natural.
Well, the Catholic Church has always been a bit egocentric, haven't they?
A bit, yeah.
Oh, that was another thing that always got to me. The gold and the gaudiness of it. I went to Spain with my parents my senior year of high school because, like I said, we lived in this tiny 100-person town, and both my dad traveled a lot, and so he'd seen the whole world almost. And they believed that they wanted us to at least be exposed to something else before we go and live on our own. And with his job, he had a bunch of free hotel points and air miles and all that. So we got to go. We checked out the cathedrals in Barcelona, and I just remember, I was still Catholic. I just remember being so turned off by it. I was like, I don't, it hurts me, I guess. I'm an emotionally driven person, I feel like there's just so much trauma around these places that I just don't want to be anywhere near it. But I understand if you're architecturally inclined that it's beautiful and it's not, it's art. I can see that, but there's too much behind it for me.
I have a question. Of your family, how many of them are objecting to the quarantines?
I have no idea. I know that some are, but I have no idea how many.
Just completely blatantly ignoring it, or?
Well, so this is the interesting thing is I don't want to talk shit about my grandma.
My grandma is an 82 racist Christian. It's fine. Go on ahead. I will balance it out with anything you say about things about my grandma. It's fine.
Well, I love her to death. And I am, like I said, I'm closer to her than almost anybody in my family. I don't fully trust her. I believe that she would lie to me to pacify something or to make me feel better, she thinks. I believe that that's something she would do. So I don't know. She says that they're quarantining and she's keeping in the house, and that my aunts and uncles are stressing that she stay in the house and that she don't ever open the door for anybody and all that. But then I look on a cousin's Facebook page and they're like, yeah, I see that, like, this is all bullshit. I'm like, okay, wait, your mom doesn't think so. Wait, I don't get it. So I don't know what anybody thinks.
Well,
I have to add in that any response that starts off with, well, you see, I don't want to talk shit about my grandma, is definitely going to get people's attention. Oh. And by the way, Jenna, I am tasked with saying hello to you from Kristen, best name ever. She says hello.
Hi, Kristen. I love you. Thank you.
I was mentioning you earlier, IQ. You do an awful lot of work in the ACA live chats and the Discord and stuff as well. So
Yes. I'm sorry I
I'm
haven't noticed.
always there. Well, I'm not always there, but I have to pass the torch to best name and Casa Mufasa. She does excellent moderation work.
I've seen her.
I toss some little nidbits of knowledge or some insight in there from time to time. I delete things that are against the chat rules, and I kind of play my part, but I will not take credit for. There are people in there who are doing way much more work because they have a keyboard, and I'm always on mobile, so they can type faster than me. I don't respond much.
Well, I mean, just the fact that you're there, you're volunteering, you're doing just the same amount of stuff I'm doing. You're volunteering your time.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And IQ usually does everything with 3 mobile phones from the back of a van because the man's also working when he's doing it as well.
Hey, I've been basically working everything off of my phone up until yesterday. Actually, till today. So,
I don't even have a desktop. I do everything from mobile. So
yeah, I just bought a laptop from Best Buy yesterday.
Fancy.
With my income stuff, the Donald Trump.
Well, can I have an anecdote I'd like to share.
Go for you.
Yeah, I went to the grocery store the other day and I wore a mask on my face and gloves on my hands because that's what we're supposed to do here in Arizona, And I'm in the store and I'm walking around doing my thing and I see my brother-in-law who is a Christian and he has no mask on and he has no gloves on. I just stopped in front of him about 12 feet away. He looked at me, I looked at him, and I just went in the other direction, complete opposite direction, and didn't say anything to him. And then I texted him a message and told him, I would have said hello, but you weren't wearing PPE. So I'm not going to say hello to anybody who's not wearing PPE. And I told him it's your own fault if you get sick. Mm-hmm. And that's
that's the only kind of shunning that I think is reasonable.
I see that. I mean, this is a pandemic. This is different from anything that any one of us has ever experienced.
This isn't a conflict of interest. You are dangerous. Who me?
Well, yeah. If I looked around the store and there were 3 other people who weren't wearing the gear properly, the PPE properly, and my brother-in-law wasn't wearing any. So he was a spot in the crowd, Well,
I don't have any masks, but I always wear gloves when I come out because Amanda in the bottom corner here made a big fucking thing and shouted at me. I went shopping and I'm in Tesco's, what is like a Walmart or something, like a food shop. And I'm talking to her on the phone and we're just chatting. And I was like, hold on a wee second, I have to lift something off the shelf. And I set the phone down and put the shopping list in my mouth and then lifted the stuff down and put it in. And she was like, what did you just do? And I was like, I put the shopping list in my mouth. Why did you put the fucking shopping in your fucking mouth? Okay, sorry.
I want to know when we're going to get told to wear masks.
Where are you?
UK.
Oh, you're not wearing masks?
Nope.
You're waiting to be told to wear a mask.
Yes.
So you're not wearing one?
We don't have enough in the country.
No.
Oh.
No. So our medical staff need them.
Oh.
Make one.
No. I don't go out, so it's not really relevant. But
Well, there you go.
But in my town, when I have been out, which is, like I said, virtually not at all, I have seen one person in a mask.
I see a lot of people wearing masks around here, though, and saying that, Dave.
Do you?
Yeah.
Then you should be wearing a mask.
Why? Because it's fashionable now.
We were required to wear masks, and every time I go to the grocery store, I see everybody in a mask. But then I went to get an oil change on, I think, Saturday, and I went to Planet K because it was next door while they were doing it. And I walked in, and the guy at the counter was like, "Oh, you don't have to wear a mask." I said, "Yes, I do." I do the grocery shopping for my mother and father-in-law, and my father-in-law has cancer. So I'm not playing, this is dangerous. Like, this can kill people that I care about. So.
Well, gloves are handy enough. We did, my father works for a big company that has a supply, and he did get an extra supply of masks. But what we did get, we give to the mother of my daughter works in an old folks home, and they were short of them, so we donated anything we had, and we give them to them. Like, 'cause it's, as Dave says, we are short of it, and it's better to have masks in an old folk home than the very little time that I leave to go to the shop once or twice a week. It's, you know.
Mm-hmm. Hey, quick question: is this being recorded too, as like the same thing or a separate thing?
We're doing the exact same thing. We're just streaming it out to everybody.
Oh, we're streaming.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, I thought we were just chatting. But I mean, I would say the same thing anyway. I got nothing to hide.
Sorry, I
I'm
thought
gonna
that
go
was
You get into a
implied.
taxi cab, and then you're sitting in the front seat, and he looks over. You know, you're putting your seatbelt on. He's, you don't need that. And you're like, just drive, pal. I'm going to increase the likelihood of my longevity.
Exactly. Yeah, I see. Somebody's asking what my favorite theist argument is.
Yes, I've seen that.
I'm curious why I would have a favorite.
I thought I was the only one who felt like that.
Okay, how about your least favorite argument?
I like ones I know the answer to. They're just crap, and I know the answer, and they're repeated. It's like the clam. I love the clam. Clam.
Well, my sister constantly brings this argument up about the wind. How I can't see the wind,
I've heard this.
and even though it's, she equates the wind with God and how we can't see, right? We can't see God, but I tell her I can measure the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Can I measure God?
True.
And they have she has no answer to that.
It really makes me angry when they try and flip words on
Well-
Twitter over and over again, because they go to the wind, they go to light, they go to various things that we can't see. Therefore, it equates.
Yeah.
I know that when I was a Catholic, I loved talking about this because I felt like I was always winning because people would just give up. And it was because I came to this point where I would just say, well, I'm not supposed to understand it.
Yeah.
I hate that one.
I'm just this little person. Like, God's way, he just not worried about me understanding this.
Yeah, he doesn't care that you have to have the knowledge to understand it, because you're so insignificant.
I just have to accept.
You just have to accept, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I always found that one odd.
I find it's an
The
admittance
argument that we cannot understand God's ways. We are incapable of understanding God's ways. I
Because we're not
pause for a
God.
second and look at the person that is telling me this, convincing me the reality of something that they're not capable of understanding. I can't figure that one out.
I think
Can we wrap our heads around
actually,
it or
hold on.
not?
Real quick. So that's funny because they could say the same thing about us.
But we're not claiming to be able to understand.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's different.
There you go.
They
Okay,
claim
thank
to
you.
understand, then claim it's not understandable.
Right.
Yeah,
I know
but
what it
then-
is, and I
Yeah.
know that you can't understand it.
Yeah.
But then that's when they use the
So
God
how
of
did
the
you
God.
come to terms to be able to describe it to me?
Yeah. Well, you feel it.
But that's when they take their God and they stick him in there, and that explains it. They don't need to do any research. They don't need to find out what
Well,
the truth is.
My dad's one of 7 kids too, and I would
Good
grow
Catholic
up.
family.
Yes, I would grow up sitting at that table, listening to my aunts and uncles argue, and I loved. Like, they're all very different, but they're all on the same page too. They're all Catholics and they're all Republicans, and but they're different. So I just love sitting there and just listening to everyone. And then, but at the same time, they're all saying abortion is wrong. You can just feel it, all of the things. They're all saying that. And that's basically all I was exposed to, considering the small town I grew up in.
But
And
that's what
everybody
you're
in that
still
town was
doing
Lutheran.
differently from them. Is
What's that? I'm sorry?
you're fucking listening. You're listening. You're actually listening to them. That's what you're doing different from them. They're taking your argument or an argument that they've heard in the past, and they just lock it in. And that's what they mean by this. That's what this is. And they've constructed a counter argument to it, and fallacious or not. And they stop listening to you. They want nothing to do with what you have, what your end game is, on what you're trying to get to. So the words that lead up to it falls on deaf ears. They will not hear or listen to anything you have to say because they're already thinking about what you're getting at, and that is a no-go. It's just, I'm not going there.
I had a conversation over email with somebody in my family that I used to be very close to, and oh my God, it went bad fast because he would ask, why do you not believe anymore? And I'd kind of give a short answer to, I looked into it and I just found out, and then he responded at either the second or third time with just like highlighting certain parts of the email and just being like, yep, you're wrong here and you're wrong here and you're wrong here. And I'm like, that's not how you have a fucking conversation.
You're telling you're wrong is not giving you the evidence for what is right.
Well, but you want to just play this like game where we just like take apart each email and just, I say, oh, well, then you're wrong here. And like, that's just not productive for us both to just be insisting, this is right. And this is right. And this is right. No, like, let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Let's say, let me ask you questions. Let me try to understand, because I found out after I lost my religion that I don't know how I justified it in the first place, and learning that everybody does it differently. I'm like, wait a second. I want to know from every single person in my family, why do you believe? I asked one person, one person did humor me enough to have lunch with me. Oh, I forget. My godmother actually is she's wonderful. But anyway, another person had lunch with me once, and we don't talk, but I think we're civil. But they said that they believe because they'd witnessed an exorcism. And I just remember going, oh.
What now?
Don't know what to do with that. So I just kind of dropped it from there. It's interesting. But now I want to go back. Be like, okay, now let's readdress it. But I don't know. I don't want to push myself on anybody.
Well, you know what I found very, very telling? When I have my brother-in-law and my sister live near me, so I have a lot of contact with them, but not recently. But anyway, they're telling me that they go to hospitals and pray for people and they get better. And
they're at a hospital.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
The funny thing is that my brother-in-law's sister had just died of cancer a few days prior to them telling me that they actually do this. And I asked them if they actually prayed for his sister, and they said yes. And I was like, well, how come she's dead then? And they were like, well, God had called her.
Yeah, she's in heaven now. She's better.
So it's a win-win, right?
Why don't they go to hospices and pray for them?
If they pray and they get better, oh, God healed them. And if they pray and they die, then God has called them.
Apologetics 101.
So it's a win-win for them no matter what happens. So it doesn't matter. Why do they pray if that's what's going to happen?
Ask them.
I did, and they have no answer.
The results reflect something that's not in your control in the first place. Why bother?
It's so interesting how easy it used to be to just accept that I didn't have an answer, even though I was instigating.
You just accepted that you didn't know and just moved on.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, I don't know, and just walk away.
Why do none of them want to save you?
Why do none of them want to save me?
Yeah.
I
Why
think
aren't they
that
starting the conversation with you?
So knowing the person that I am, I had never really met an atheist before I became one, as far as I knew. And so I thought, oh my God, if anybody in my family had ever become an atheist, I'd want to know, and I'd want to find out why.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, so I'll come out on Facebook and just everybody will know at once. There's such a big family. I'm not going to go and talk to everybody individually. So I just kind of put it on Facebook and thought, oh, well, they'll just gradually start reaching out to me.
Did it work?
A couple people. Sorry, go ahead.
Did it work? Did they reach out?
No. No. I know that my grandma thinks that I'm going through a phase. She said, "Oh, I've been there. Just give it time."
So she's had an existential crisis and give up, and then, well, that's a bad thing.
Well, everybody has doubt.
That's what I'm going to say. Point. Yeah, everybody goes through this at certain stages of your life. You know.
Oh, that's normal. You'll come back.
Yeah.
My grandmother threatened to never talk to me again if I didn't get confirmed. So.
Did you like your grandmother?
No, she was kind of a cunt.
Actually, that probably would have been that would have been the same thing for me. When I was confirmed, if I had refused, that wouldn't have gone down very well.
Yeah, the day I was confirmed was a really fucking shitty day for me, and I just didn't want to do it. And my grandmother just grabbed me in the hallway and was like, "You're doing this, or I'm never talking to you again." So yeah, she was awful.
Right, because that's the reason people get confirmed.
Yeah, that's the
yeah. Too.
Do it because
I'd
your
like
granny
to say
said it.
that I'd like to say I was calling myself agnostic when I was 12, only because I looked the word up, and I figured I might as well believe this because I have no knowledge of what they're talking about, and they can't prove it in any way. So that's what I've been going with ever since I was like a little kid, you know? And I'm so glad that my parents never pressured me to do these things. And I feel fortunate in that respect.
Me too. I'm glad.
Thank you.
There was a point where in the middle there for a little bit while I was questioning where I called myself SBNR.
SB.
Spiritual, but not religious.
Oh.
Sorry, no offense, but
and I had looked it up online, and there was even a Wikipedia page for it, so that meant it was a legit thing. So that was my religion.
Well, that word spiritual is really dubious, to say the least.
Dubious? What does that mean?
Well, it's very hard to pin down.
Oh, yeah, it's very vague.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was right after that, I kind of became agnostic too, because I looked up agnostic and I looked up atheist, and I guess the definition, I had read it the way a normal Christian would, and like, oh, I can't say there's no God, I know there's something. And so I was like, I guess I'm, agnostic, whatever.
Calm down, Dave, breathe, Dave, breathe. Sorry, go on ahead, Jenna. That's a personal joke, sorry. Dave's never met an agnostic. Dave's never met an agnostic, so he hasn't.
I've met lots of agnostics, just not you.
Sorry,
you
Jenna.
understand that I don't disagree with Dave, right?
So, it's just us on the show now. Oh, sorry. Dave just likes to wind me up about that. So yes, you're an agnostic, or took the title of agnostic, Jenna. Continue.
Oh no, that was it. I was agnostic and then found out I was an atheist, and that just blew my mind. Oh my god.
I haven't found that out yet. Dave hasn't had that conversation with me yet. He just shouts at me. You're wrong. He's like one of these Christians, You're wrong.
No. I've asked you this before. Do you believe a God exists?
No.
A God, Christian God, be specific.
No, any God. Do you believe any God exists?
Define God.
No,
Why?
just any.
You
pick.
Now you know it.
There is the.
You're the one that's supposed to define it.
There is the theological non-cognitive position, which claims that gods do exist because people used to worship the sun, and the sun does exist. It's demonstrable. So therefore, you can actually say that gods do exist.
Well, I don't know, because if you're worshiping the sun, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, but it's demonstrable. The sun can be proven that it exists. And if you call the sun a god, that's
but is the sun what you think it is what I mean.
No, that's the other side of the coin too.
Right. Like, do you believe that ball of gas and chemicals are...
Well, that's the theological That's the position I was talking about. Theological non-cognitism.
Mm-hmm.
It's synonymous with agnosticism in a way, but it makes a claim that gods do exist because there has been a demonstrable God that is the sun.
Well, I mean, my God was Mother Nature in AA, so that exists.
Right.
The problem is you're giving it, as Jenna said, you're giving it more than it is.
Right,
like a mug is God. That doesn't make it.
Well,
but the position that there are no gods is hard.
Yeah,
to
I can't
prove.
take that. I don't know that there are no gods. I just don't believe that there are gods.
Right.
And this is the point. It's whether or not you believe a God exists.
Right.
Not whether
Do
you
I
think
believe
that none do.
Right.
I just don't know. I have experienced things that still leave me thinking.
Yeah.
Do you believe a God exists? You've answered this question hundreds of times in the past when I've asked it.
No. My exact answer was, I was very particular about this every time you ask me it, is when it comes to the Christian God, I would be very atheistic towards the Christian God. I do not believe that that person exists because it can be proven to be illogical and wrong, but that does not mean that I know for a fact that there's nothing.
But you're not being asked whether or not you know for a fact. We're asking what you believe. How do you live your life?
Oh, how
do
I
you
live my
believe
life
God is driving your life?
No.
Not you know a God doesn't.
I mean, my subconscious could be a god.
I mean, I don't discount that gods might exist.
Yeah.
I just don't believe they do.
Right. I agree.
Well, then you have these people. I don't know what they call themselves, but they say that the whole question itself, whether it's affirmative or not, is just ridiculous.
Well, but the fact is that it is necessary because of the billions of people who do believe. It would be redundant if we were talking about something that nobody believed in, aka Tinkerbell. You know, but because they actually do. Now, we made that distinction.
If you clap hard enough, you can bring them back. Clap for the fairies. It's because that time nobody clapped hard enough and she actually did.
Oh, you clap? Yes. Yeah.
No, I would live my life as not as a scientist, but a basis in science, as you know that, Dave.
Yes. Well, this is why you're an atheist.
I don't know what I do.
Atheist.
You see, Jenna doesn't know, right? Because when Jenna came on even earlier, and I know, this is not offense, and I took no offense, but she's like, I have no idea who you are, you know?
It's me. It's
fine. Weird. It's not you. It's not you. I'm tiny. But the point
it's so funny. People will come up and talk about like famous atheists, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you know." I'm like, "I don't know that guy." I'm sorry.
No, but whenever I first came into the community, was trying to pick a name for something that describes yourself. I didn't like any of the terms, so the term that I went with was math, magic, pagan. So math as in a sense of science, magic as in I've experienced things I haven't yet found an explanation for, and pagan as in I ain't no Christian. And the MathPig thing came from a long, silly story where somebody named me when I was half drunk and changed it and got stuck with it. But the original title was Math, Magic, Pig, and I don't like any of these, atheist, agnostic. I don't like any of these actual labels. I don't like putting anyone... No, it's not that I don't like them. It's just, as I said here before in the channel, is if you...
Are you kidding me?
Do I have to kick you?
Fucking kidding me?
No, I don't like anybody being put in a pigeonhole. I don't like anybody...
Oh, you don't like that we're putting ourselves in this atheist group.
It's not that I dislike atheists, for fuck's sake. It's the fact that I don't like the pigeonholing.
But at least the atheist group that we're in is trying to branch out. We're trying to talk to more people. We're not just talking to atheists.
Well, you know what, too? As an atheist, we're trying to help other religions. Mm-hmm. The other religions don't want to do that.
Right.
No, I find it very odd that they don't care about the truth of their religion. Would they not want to prove their religion?
They don't care. They're good. I wouldn't care. I'd be like, I believe. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but I feel as an atheist that they have the right to believe that, right? But if I was, say, a Catholic, I would say, well, no, the Presbyterians don't have the right to think that because my God is the God.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? And the people who believe, who are Pentecostal, say the same thing about the Catholics. They don't want to help the Catholics.
Well, but look at the whole idea of religion is people basically trying to control everyone. It's all you control this person and you control this person and you control no one. So, you know, it's all everybody trying to be hands-on to everyone else. And once you kind of break from that, you're like, oh wait, there's a person right here that I could work on. Wait, okay. You know? I spent so much time trying to control everyone around me. Oh, if you would only do this, if you would only be nicer to me, if you would only do that. And now I'm like, okay, what can I do?
Well, as atheists, I feel that we rally around all religions and say they have the right to act and, you know, well, not act, but worship the way they want.
I think the problem is I disagree with that.
I believe that they have the right. Do I support it? No.
The problem I have is the longer it goes on, the more I am seeing that even a lot of the innocuous beliefs are harmful.
Yes, they are. If you can't discern whether or not it is reasonable to believe in a God, that if we start there, if you can't do that, I don't know how you can tell who to vote for in politics.
Yeah. Well, again, American politics is worse than here. Right? But American politics, the number of things where they misuse words, they label someone as something, then associate it with something else, and then say that all people, all of you are these. In the same way as now, as all Democrats support abortion, all Democrats want to take away your guns, all Democrats want to do this. And the Democrats right now is a relatively mixed party.
Well, they're under the impression that they're in a group where we all believe this and they all believe that. So you all must believe this. You know, it's that they put things in categories because that's the only way that they can try to understand the world that they're navigating. Because that's how at least that's how I did it.
And I'm fascinated how the US got to the way it did, given it really requires your Christianity, your Christians fighting amongst each other. It seems like 30 or 40 years ago, they stopped fighting amongst each other and decided we're all going to get along.
Really?
Well,
I don't think so.
How is it that they managed to get so much power then? Why aren't
they started
you're right. Screaming? Why aren't the Catholics stood up screaming?
Screaming
about
at what?
the evangelicals?
I think it's rather true in America, though, because they've kind of all banded together against what they see as the other side, especially evangelicals. So kind of being right and being Christian go hand in hand in this country.
That's the thing. It doesn't matter what Christian.
We are a Christian nation.
Yeah, that's it. It doesn't matter what Christian you are. As long as you're a Christian, you can all band under that one umbrella. And they all stand in line and they agree because we're all Christians. We're going to follow this Christian, politician. The problem over here and what we have with the left and stuff is whenever we see someone that's, right, this guy's going forward and got 50 things that he's doing is right, and he's done the one thing that's wrong or the two things that's wrong, it's not that we focus on it, but we're not blind to it. We don't ignore it. And from that, we can have problems, because we do disagree. We don't stand in line. We aren't fucking sheep. And I'm not saying all conservatives are sheep, but fucking all conservatives are sheep.
They are. And I was a sheep. And then I realized after I came out, I was like, holy shit, I was proud of being a sheep. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
Yeah, I'd rather be a wolf.
It really annoys me. Have you seen on Twitter the big pro-life Twitter account? Keeps getting banned from Facebook. And they're just putting out lie after lie after lie.
Oh.
Right. And so many people buy it, and I confront it over and over again. I get blocked over and over again. So much stuff's not showing up. But it really bugs me that they can knowingly lie for a goal.
But you know what? When they created books, they had the same problem.
Well, it's pro-life, but they're not for abortion. Is that right?
No, calling it pro-life is a misnomer, but that's if we're in a conversation right now.
They don't give a fuck about the kids.
No, it's forced birth. If I'm talking to them, I call them forced birth.
How about required? Yeah, I was gonna say required birth. Forced birth sounds better.
Yeah.
So they're against abortions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's like the main thing for most of my family.
But it's all their time is spent. All the accounts that are doing it, that they like to share pictures of third trimester abortions, which are basically done unbelievably rarely for very, very bad medical reasons.
Dave,
I wouldn't worry about it because they've all seen this stuff already. They're just looking at it again.
Yeah, but they are the ones that are convincing.
Can I remind you guys that our president in this country used the term post-birth abortion?
Yes. Oh.
Dave, I've had a guy that you know of, I've mentioned before, that fella, Palm Scum to People and all that, they're the old earth creationists that come into work. He has come in and argued abortion with me and shown me a picture of some wee boy that was aborted or not aborted, but had survived under some laws that could be aborted. And you're like, look, this wee lad's grown up and survived and all. How can you justify this, that, and the other? And it's...
So what?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. You're talking about one situation.
Yeah.
One. You're going to say that you're going to make laws on that?
I get into trouble. I got in trouble for quite a few pro-choice people because I will grant them. I will turn around and say, "Fine, it's a person from birth. It's a person from conception. I'll grant you that for the sake of argument. It doesn't change the fact that a person's body is sacrosanct and it is her fucking body."
Yep.
But that's the thing is the sex comes in then, and they say she shouldn't have gotten pregnant then. You know, they put the blame on it and be like, well, it's your own damn fault. So, sorry.
Then I get into big rows about sex education in America.
Oh yeah, I didn't have any. I started my period and didn't know what it was.
Oh, that's not
sorry.
good.
I just dropped out for a second. I don't know what happened.
Oh, sorry that you came back to that.
But no, that is, you know, at the end of the day, 50% of the population experiences that without a choice.
Yeah.
That should be, you know, educated. It should be known. You know, you should be not expecting it, but know what it is when it happens.
I have another problem as well. I don't understand why that is lumped in with sex education. Mostly because I had a problem with the way the Christians deal with it.
Why? What's lumped in?
Why periods? Why general reproductive health?
Yeah,
is included with sex education.
Why wouldn't it be? Reproductive health?
Because if you can separate them off, you might get around a lot of the, we don't want to teach this in schools. Teaching about periods and cycles is not, you can separate it from sex.
True.
And have that taught in places where they don't want you teaching about sex.
I mean, I think that should be something that's just taught.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
I think that should be something that's taught in the classroom.
Yes,
I think the kids need to be raised to accept that penis is a real body part.
Yes.
It's a word.
Yeah.
It's okay to say it if you're talking about it. That just makes sense to me. I guess that I shouldn't do that. It just makes sense to me. I'm still learning.
But the whole thing falls under the umbrella of biology, doesn't it?
Yes. I mean, that most of my sex education in school came under biology. It was very mechanical.
What little I got came from that, yeah.
I grew up in Connecticut, so I had a really great sex education, like an actual sex education, because it was one of the bluest states in the country. So.
All right, Mama.
Which position?
I got stuck with Texas.
Yeah. Sorry.
I grew up in New York, so I guess my education was crap. I don't know.
Is it?
I don't know.
Was it not screamed at you across the street?
Well, I have to say now, I grew up in something similar to yourself, Jenna, with a small wee area, but what we would refer to it as a hamlet. It literally was 2 housing estates, a Free Presbyterian church and a school. That's all it was, you know. So something.
That's pretty much what I had.
Yeah, now, you know, 3 or 4 mile, or I think it was 4 mile up the road, there is quite a big town called Newry, so a lot of people, but the actual area where we grew up was quite small. Now, my school was literally at the top of the hill from where I grew up, and when I was in the last year in school, we had a total of 72 people in the whole school. And it was a very good school because of that, because there's 4 teachers and 72 pupils. You get an awful lot of hands-on, you know, interaction and stuff. But even at that level, as Dave says, with the sex education and stuff, there was nothing, you know. So it did well and everything else, but you don't get any of that. Like, it's just.
Yeah, we had 100 kids from K through 12. And I exaggerated. I feel really bad. There are 100 people. There are 2 towns that were combined to create a school district, and the main town that basically everything's run out of there is the town that has a population, or at least it had a population of 77 when I was there. It could be 89 now. I don't know. But I just wanted to clarify that I grew up in the other town that had 200 people. So I exaggerated a little bit because I used the other town.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine.
I felt bad. Just had to clear the air.
Oh no, well that's it now, because we call out all our bad people. It's been a lovely night. Thanks very much, Jen.
Hello, Jen. How are you?
Randolph,
Hi,
thanks
good.
for coming.
What's up? You look like you're in Canada.
I am. I run an organization here called the Canadian Atheists.
Hey, add me on Facebook.
I can't because Facebook disabled my account based on false accusations. And then when I went to their appeals process and explained to them, look in my whole history, you won't see anything like this. And the accusations were just ridiculous and nothing to do with anything that I was involved in. And they and I don't do those things. And they responded rather quickly and told me to never use their system ever again. So I can't. I'd love to, but I can't.
Well, I just started using Twitter.
I'm on Twitter. You can find me at Randolph828.
I probably won't remember that, but
it's easier
okay.
for her. Her Twitter is just her name backwards.
Okay.
It's Belk.
Pleb Anage. I'm doing that in my mind.
In saying that, Randolph, I fixed the description. All the links are now in the description. It should be right now. So all Jenna's links for her channel and her Twitter and all that stuff is in the description.
I'll hook up with you there, Jenna.
Cool.
I heard what you were saying about atheism earlier, and I tell you, I agree. I've been advocating for it as the fundamental classification of absence of belief in deities, and that being the only characteristic. And then, of course, it's polysemous. There's other uses of it, but all the variants seem to share that one characteristic. So that's the one I go with as well. Yeah. So, and I think of it as a classification, not a position, because to me that maximizes the freedom, and it says exactly what it is. Sounds like you're kind of on the same page with me on that, aren't you?
I think so. What was that word you just said? That was like
polysemous. Polysemous.
What's that?
It means that a word has multiple uses.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Multiple meanings. So it's not really. People sometimes confuse it with synonyms, but it's not a synonym. It's
separate. Yeah.
So this comes up with people mostly who are trying to do armchair philosophy on the internet. It comes up a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they learn a new word and they love to use it over and over again. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Randolph has admitted to having word-a-day toilet paper.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said Randolph has admitted to having word-a-day toilet paper. He's thinking back in his head. When did I do that? When did I do that? I'm joking. You have a bad echo, Randolph. If you could mute when you're not speaking. Somebody has a real bad echo.
I think it's you. Oh no.
No, it's Randolph.
It's Randolph.
Okay.
My
you remind me. So learning about the Dunning-Kruger effect was fascinating to me because, like, I had just become an atheist. I was just learning from the great courses, and they had talked about it and showed a chart. You know, like it goes, you think you know, and then the more you learn, you know, you don't know, and then eventually you start knowing stuff, you know, and it's kind of who knows how far it goes from there. And I was like, oh, I used to do that all the time. So I was like, holy shit, I'm at the bottom right now, like way down here. So there's a lot I don't know.
You know what? I think the fact that we can recognize that is a really good indication for our abilities to think clearly. It's a good sign. We're heading in the right direction if we're willing to admit this kind of thing.
Yeah. It's hard the first couple times, you know? It's embarrassing. Like it just doesn't feel right. There's this cognitive dissonance about it. It's just like, you know? But once you do, it's just so freeing. It's amazing.
I remember Dr. Peter Boghossian in his book writing about, he's calling it to be doxastically open if you're willing to change your views on things when presented with reasonable evidence. And obviously the opposite is being doxastically closed and not willing to change your mind on anything, stubborn like certain people on the internet I've encountered in recent years.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a people thing.
Yeah. So yeah, cognitive dissonance is something we need to be able to put aside sometimes and just kind of make up our minds and think clearly about things. And it's something that the world could do a lot better with a lot more of.
I agree, and I think a good way to do that is to share when we feel that more often. You know, just, hey guys, I'm feeling really uncomfortable because I feel like this is it, but then I know this is it. And it's just, if we can share that more just amongst our friend groups and our families, and I don't know, it just can become more, we can become more aware of it, I guess.
I think I've seen you on Neil's chat sometimes. Yeah. So
I was on one time. He wanted my deconversion story.
Yeah,
that was fun. He's such.
I don't have a deconversion story, so I'm quite proud of this. I got to be the first person on his channel who doesn't have a deconversion story, and the way we played it was an April Fool's joke that he was going to have a mystery guest. Turned out he was the mystery guest, and I interviewed him for his deconversion story.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a great.
That's a cool idea. I like that.
It was one of the April 1st episodes, so it was fun. It was interesting. Somebody in the chat seemed all concerned. Oh, who's that guy interviewing Neil? Okay.
That's cool.
Hey, you and Neil actually live close to each other, though. You go for blood drives together, don't you? She's always take a picture of you, Neil's father, and yourself.
Yeah, because Neil's father's picture is on the wall in there. We donate blood every 2 months, and we're neighbors. We live in the same city.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to have to drop out, you guys.
See you,
Sam. It's good to see you again.
Bye, you.
Yeah, Randolph.
Nice to meet you.
It's nice.
We didn't get much chance to chat.
Yeah, Randolph, I watch you, so I know what you're up to. And Critical.
Well, thank you very much.
That sounds really creepy. That just to point us out. It's not like I watch your channel, I see you about. Your content is good. You know.
I know what he meant.
I watch him.
Tree outside the window.
I actually kind of have to go too-ish. But I kind of want to share something about why.
Well, we've got one friend that just wants to come in and say hello, Jenna. So I'm going to kick Geo, and for 5 minutes, if you can have a wee chat with Bill,
yeah, sure.
And then we'll wind up.
Right.
You know, if that's all right, yeah.
I want to hear what Jen has to say.
Great.
Well,
Yeah.
but I can share while we add that person. I can share why I'm going to be going is because. So I think I mentioned earlier EQ, emotional intelligence, and how I had never heard of that before. I thought my whole life, basically, I could only identify a couple of emotions, you know, angry, sad, and happy, basically. And so I just didn't know how I felt ever. So once I started learning that, this has been a little bit over a year now, maybe a year and a half, that I understood this concept at all. And so it's still very new to me to be paying attention to my emotions. And I spent basically my entire 20s up until 27 drunk, you know, ignoring everything and just doing whatever I wanted. And this is the first time in my life that I'm paying attention to how I feel and acknowledging it and treating myself right. And so it's overwhelming for me to try to be so aware all the time when I haven't been for my whole life. Like the way I put it is, you know, I used to live my life and then I'd go to bed. And then at the end of the day, I'd be like, okay, why did I do that? You know, why did I do that? What? Well, and then I get stressed and angry and I just go to sleep and then do it all over again the next day. Now that I'm starting to understand things, it's just, it's very emotionally draining. It's very, what do you call it? Invigorating. I just can't do too much at one, like, I can only handle a couple of conversations that are deep in a week. And I don't do small talk. So I don't talk to many people. And when I'm on like AXP on Sunday, I can't be on 3 more shows because I'm just so drained. So I blame my lack of awareness of any kind of emotion on the way that I was raised. I was taught to sit down and pray, and you pray like this, not like this, and all that bullshit. So that's why I can't stay on much longer.
No, that's 100%, Jenna, and I appreciate you even giving us this time, taking that into consideration. You know, if you only have an allotted time a week and giving that to me, I really appreciate that, and being open to everybody here. So I definitely want to thank you for coming on. And overall, for tonight, it has been a lot of fun. It's been nice getting to know you a wee bit more and getting to get to know the person behind the famous AXP person, you know. So if I can just introduce Bill, say thank you very much for Bill coming on, and Bill did a few things. So I'll hand the floor over to him before you have to go.
Yeah, I can
nice
see
to
it
meet
in
you,
5
Jenna.
minutes.
It was a pleasure to meet you, Jenna. It's a pleasure to meet you.
You too.
It was lovely to meet you.
No, it's cool. Hello was enough. That was literally all I just thought I'd come in and say hi. Cause it's,
Okay, so Bill did his thing. Thanks very much,
Oh, I wanted to chat with Bill a little bit too.
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, I just I appreciate everything you do, really. Like, I see you around a lot, so it's all good.
Yay, thanks for watching, and thank everyone who supports me in any way, because if I didn't have any support, I wouldn't still be doing this.
Yeah, as I say, all the links are in the description. Everybody go and sub to Jenna, stay up and date, and hit that bell and do all the silly YouTube stuff.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you all for coming.
No, really, really do appreciate it, Jenna. As I say, we're trying to get here and build and make like a web. You know, we're not building, we're making a web where we can communicate with everyone. And as you said, with the GSR, was it the GSR?
GCRR, Global Center for Religious Research, GCRR.
Whenever you're finished, send me the DM and a Twitter, and I'll add that to the description as well. And it's good to reach out to other Christians and stuff, and let's keep the conversation going.
Yay!
So
Thank y'all. Bye.
See you later, Jenna.
Bye.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Well, what we'll do is we'll work our way around the room and give everyone a shout out and let them know. So, Dave, you're next in the queue. What have you got coming up?
I've got quizzes.
Lots of
No,
quizzes.
questions.
After dark quizzes yet? No? Any smutty quizzes?
Not yet. Soon.
Soon. He's been building up the questions. Randolph,
Yeah.
what have you got?
Well, I've got a few projects in the works, but a big thing coming up for me is a conversation/debate with Steve McRae. It was canceled because he canceled it, and then he's uncanceled. So we're trying to get. We're just left figuring out the schedule now. Jay of the Nevermore Tavern is going to be hosting it, so we're looking forward to that. There's also Neil and I have been talking about. Once the coronavirus clears up, then we can start setting up some in-person events here in BC, so atheists can get together in a sense of community. So, and also we're currently working on putting our call-in show together, the True North Talk, which is modeled very similarly after the Atheist Experience, which is a wonderful show. And our intention is to schedule in a way that doesn't conflict with others, as much as we can help it. So that's where we're at. Thank you. And I'm with the Canadian Atheist, www.canadianatheists.ca. I just have to mention that. Thank you.
Bill, as always, man, have you anything going on? Any luck with the dog yet? Or is it just the COVID holding you back?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, holding me back at the moment, to be honest. Pretty much. But it's all going to plan. So the breeding was done last week. So if the pregnancy works, if it all goes through, it should be mid-August that will be happening. I'll be on the hopefully I'll be on a few of Dave's quizzes this week. Yeah, I'm super happy. Like when it does happen, I will be even more happy. It'll
Yes.
be the greatest day of my life.
We look forward to the Dave quizzes. Everybody, there's a fight to get on. There's usually a list. But, you know, it's a silly quiz show, but it's very popular. It is very popular. Everybody likes to come on and make an absolute fool out of themselves on Dave's channel. It's great.
Fantastic show. I think I was in one of them once. A lot of fun.
Well, this week I'll have nothing on Tuesday. I have the wee girl up with me, so I'll have nothing on Tuesday. Next Sunday we have a Christian on. We have Nez Lover. It's a little art channel, sort of where I go and hide when all you fuckers get too much for me, and I go and listen to music. So I'm going to introduce you to my little safe zone. Don't be ruining that for me. So after that, we have Divine Disbelief next Tuesday, and yeah, that's pretty much what's coming up the next wee while here. So if anyone else has anything left they want to shout out or scream or shout or... No? Right, fuck yous all. Right, that'll do it. Okay. Everybody, thanks for coming. If it wasn't for the watchers, you know, and all the rest of it. Oink and out, everybody. See yous later.